Motorhead Garage, presented by DragonfireTools.com, coming to you from the Shade Wagon Studio.
Well, I have 3 containers of brake fluid here. If you had to put one in your car, which one would you choose? Welcome to this AMSOIL Tech Tip. Well, it's pretty obvious right here. I wouldn't want this one. Yeah, this is old brake fluid. It's been in a vehicle for a while and it's kind of contaminated, but looks could be deceiving. These two here, well, they look pretty similar. So we have to understand all about brake fluid. Brake fluid is hygroscopic. Hygroscopic means it actually absorbs water. So if you leave the cap off or you have a big container, it's going to absorb water. Well, that's a problem because it's going to lower the boiling point. We'll look at that in a minute. But we need to check the brake fluid. I'm going to show you which one would you pick. Why is that? Well, I actually have a little meter here that measures water content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick that in this one here, and it's a little bit of yellow. It's been out all night sitting here. Now watch this. This one here, well, I got this out about a week. Bam, you see it go right to the red there? There's a ton of water content in that one. So that one's gonna boil. And when it boils, see, it makes air in the systems. Air is compressible and liquid's not. That's not a good thing. When we talk about brake fluid, we have to understand the different types. There's .3, .4, .5, and .5.1. I'll make it pretty simple for you. The higher the number, the higher the boiling point. Now, there's one exception. .3, .4, .5.1 are all glycol based. .5, well, that's silicone based. So .5's for some special applications, military vehicles, motorcycles, stuff like that. We don't use that too often, but we do use .3, .4, and .5.1. The higher the number, the higher the boiling point. Use what your manufacturer service manual calls for, but you can always supersede the number. You can go a little bit higher. For example, if my car called for .4, I could put 5.1 in it, or if it called for .3, I could put 4 in it, but I can't go backwards. We talk about checking brake fluid. Now we can check it with that tool I just used a little bit earlier. We can also use a refractometer, and you just look through it. And when you look through it, exactly what we see right there is the content of what's going on of the boiling of the brake fluid. We can also use these little test strips. We can put them down in there, and this actually measures copper content, which is weird, I know, but some of the nickel metal lines have some copper in there, and the brake fluid starts to deteriorate it. We know it's going bad. Now, we actually boiled some brake fluid, which is pretty cool. You can see it right here. It's not a controlled test, but these are both .4 brake fluids, and you can see the one on the left, it's not boiling at all. The one on the right we left out overnight. You can see the color change. It boiled pretty quick. Len, AMSOIL has us covered with brake fluid as well.
We do. We've got brake fluid for all of your different applications. Just, check out your owner's manual, make sure you're using what they recommend. But one of the things that I wanted to mention, especially in the climate that we work in, is once that brake fluid picks up some water, it freezes. So your pedal will get extremely stiff in the cold. Something maybe people in the southern states don't think of, but those of us that work in the north have those issues. So the main thing is use what's recommended for the vehicle and change it.
Yeah, and I love AMSOIL because theirs is specified for .3 and 4, and it actually reaches the specifications of 5.1, which is awesome. Now, brake fluid is serviceable, just like all the other fluids on your vehicle. For all your fluid service needs, go to AMSOIL.com.
Sometimes a car isn't just a car. There can be a big emotional attachment to it, and that is the case with our PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. Dean Huggins says his grandfather ordered this 1937 Ford Sedan Deluxe brand new. He picked it up on July 12, 1937 from a dealer in Council Grove, Kansas. And years later, in 1960, Grandpa gave it to Dean to drive to high school during his senior and junior years. And Dean told me he tore it to pieces driving it on the gravel roads of rural Kansas. He kept the car for decades, though, with dreams of restoring it. And in 2013, Dean retired from his job and he set out to make that restoration happen. The body, the head and tail lights, and the bumper brackets are all original. He just got them re-chromed. But Dean has taken his grandfather's car to the next level. Among the changes, he dropped a 347 Ford Stroker motor into the car, and the car has a Mustang 2 front end to make it more drivable. When I talked to Dean, he couldn't stop singing the praises of Talent's Hot Rod Shop in Kansas City and Don Kite and his amazing work on that interior. And this just in, Dean's car just won an award for outstanding use of color choice at the NSRA event in Springfield, Missouri, the first of many awards to come, I am sure. Congratulations to Dean Huggins. He's the PaintedAutoParts.com Motorhead of the Week. And if you know someone who should be Motorhead of the Week, give us a shout. Go to MotorheadGarage.tv and tell us the story. We'll return with more Motorhead Garage presented by DragonfireTools.com. Keep it here.